everyone, and welcome to another exciting commentary podcast. I'm Captain Logan, and here's Eric.
I'm Eric.
And Dan!
Hello.
And today we are tackling another Ninja Turtles movie. We're doing the 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles!
Wasn't it originally just called Ninja Turtles?
Yes, and that's why I like to yell Ninja Turtles every time I say the title, because they just put Teenage Mutant in tiny letters on top of it, almost going, look you jerk faces, we didn't want to put the Teenage Mutant in there, but since everyone on Twitter complained about everything we changed, we'll give it to you, we'll give you what you want, but we're going to make sure that you know that we didn't want to do it that way in the first place.
Was Teenage Mutant in it in theaters?
Yes.
Okay. Because I just remember it being called Ninja Turtles.
That logo from the beginning, I think there was an initial logo that was just Ninja Turtles, but once we got a trailer, it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles!
I see.
Yeah, they changed it pretty quick because they revealed it was going to be called Ninja Turtles like either at the same time or shortly before or after something when Michael Bay was at that event and he told everyone that the Ninja Turtles were going to be aliens and like everyone, collectively was like, what?
That's not exactly what happened. Michael Bay never actually confirmed they were aliens?
Oh, I thought he was at like some kind of like event, like a conference or something. And he was talking about the movie, and he said they were going to be another planet and stuff.
There was a whole paragraph about it. I thought I read it.
No, I have this theory that Michael Bay is like a master con man. Because if you actually look at what he said, he never confirms it. He just complains about people complaining about them being aliens, but never actually says that they are aliens.
Okay, that's weird.
I keep wondering if this is going to happen with Power Rangers, because right now, at the time of this recording, that's just called Power Rangers.
It's not
and I'm
called
waiting
Mighty
for that to have
Morphin.
Mighty Morphin with like tiny letters on top of the logo.
You could probably get away with that a little bit better.
Yeah. But anyway, so we're gonna watch this thing. Everybody, please go ahead and get your DVD or your Blu-ray, however you want to watch this. Get it to timestamp 0 past all the menus, and as always, this will also be hopefully somewhat listenable as just a straight up podcast if you want to listen to it without all of that while you're going to the mall or making fun of people you don't like. Dan, are you ready to get started?
Yeah, I'm just getting it to timestamp 0 myself right here.
Oh, good job. I'm glad you were prepared for a commentary.
I am prepared right now.
Okay, cool.
So,
What were the trailers for the movie?
There weren't any before. There was just like an FBI warning that I forgot to skip through.
Oh, okay.
All right, we're going to start talking about this right out the gate when we press play. We are all three kind of nervous about whether or not we have very much left to say about this movie, so didn't want to front-load this with much of anything. Everybody, please press play right now.
You know, you said everybody should get like their DVD or their Blu-ray copy.
Yeah.
I hope they didn't pay for steal this movie. If you're gonna watch it, steal this movie. Don't pay for this.
So, Eric, are you in a this sucks, I wish I never had to watch it?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm almost like, I don't love this movie. I don't think it's great, but I got really tired of people acting like this was Transformers 2. It's not nearly as bad as everyone says it is. It's just kind of meh. Just kind of sits there.
What disappointed me in the theater is I thought it was going to prove everybody wrong. Half an hour in, I thought we had a pretty decent movie on our hands, and then it turns into a really mediocre movie that is competing with Green Lantern for most generic superhero movie made in the last 20 years.
Oh, I think it's better than that.
No.
I've never seen Green Lantern.
All right, well then your opinion doesn't count, Eric.
I saw the beginning and a fight scene in the middle.
Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
I was just going to say, I think once the villain plot begins, it really goes downhill. Just because it's clear that William Fichtner was supposed to be the Shredder, and they just cut all of the scenes of him in the costume and alluding to the fact that he's in the costume out. Because he has like a background where he was like born on a military base in Japan and was like raised there by authentically Japanese people. And it's like, wow. Because people complained that the Shredder wasn't Japanese, they changed it to some other random guy that has no characterization.
Can I just up front complain? Because I could just complain about this entire movie.
Did you notice that? Did Crime Wave shreds New York?
Ha!
I never saw that. I'm
like
sorry,
the
go ahead.
Shredder?
Yeah,
I hate how the Foot Clan look in this movie. I hate that they're just thugs in, like, bulletproof jackets.
Yeah, it is kind of dumb.
Oh, you know,
I
this
did
isn't
like-
a bad opening title sequence, except that it's amusing that this is just Fruit Ninja.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
Brick Ninja.
It's Fruit Ninja.
And
No,
so
now
Ninja.
it's Fruit
It is
Ninja.
Do you think that was intentional?
I don't know. I remember in the theater people laughing because it was Fruit Ninja.
Why a VHS? What did VHS do to you?
I do like that this opening sequence here bears some resemblance to the Mirage comics, like art style and stuff. It's kind of cool.
I think it's more Sin City-y, which I mean is
think
kind
so,
of
too.
appropriate because Frank Miller inspired the Turtles, but
Yeah.
much like the makers of Sin City: The Dame to Kill For, they didn't realize that Sin City had come out 10 years ago.
You would think of all the people who made Sin City 2 would realize that.
It's just, I remember going in thinking, oh, I'm kind of sad that they're homaging the Mirage comics like that at all, or having that kind of gritty stylistic thing with their, I won't say opening credit sequence, but I guess their teaser thing, because we know what these turtles look like.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah,
is
I'm not a
not a
big fan of their
stylized
designs.
movie at all.
No, if you had told me Michael Bay had directed this movie, I would believe you. It looks a lot like a Michael Bay movie. And most of the stuff he produces kind of have that vibe.
There's like a house style to Platinum Dunes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why, and I'm glad we're getting this out up front, because this is a thing that people constantly like to complain about when somebody calls this Michael Bay's Ninja Turtles, and I don't like to say that just because I know he didn't direct it, but at the same time, it's a little bit different than when you have a director that serves as producer and doesn't do anything on a movie, and you pretend like that. Like, you know, it would be disingenuous to call Man of Steel Nolan's Man of Steel. But
Right.
even though Michael Bay didn't direct this and probably didn't get his mitts on it very much, as Eric said, it is that house style.
I don't know how you feel because, again, our comic sensibility is very different.
Yeah.
But I love him and everything. Do you know him from anything, and do you like him in this movie?
I do not like him in this movie.
Okay, I love him. I think
I
he's
feel
super
like-
funny.
And you think he's funny in this movie?
Yeah, but I think he's funny in everything. I don't think I've ever seen him where I didn't think he was funny.
Okay. Well, because a lot of what makes him not funny in this is just dialogue he's given, and the just the irritating characterization of he's there to constantly try to horn in on her, and that's irritating.
There's also an insane in joke that I'll talk about when we get to it with him.
He's the thing that makes this to me most feel like one of the Transformers movies, where it's got that irritating comedy thing. Like, it doesn't go so far away from, you know, kid stuff where, like, he's not so vulgar. I just don't think he's funny.
Well, he's playing almost the same character he played in Arrested Development, but just kind of toned down a little bit. So I already like him as that character, so I don't even see it like that.
And that's fair, but I don't feel like I should have to see a thing
No,
that
and
another
you
person
shouldn't.
is
That's why I
in.
asked you.
But yeah, I also think it's hilarious that we now have a live action version of this character,
Vern.
Yeah, that is hilarious.
and he's definitely
I do
right
like-
for that part. I mean, like the characterization is certainly different, but in the face, he weirdly kind of looks like that guy. And April's wearing yellow because she's April. She has to wear yellow.
So, up front, when she was cast for this movie,
Yeah.
she's actually a Ninja Turtles fan, kind of. Like, years before being cast in this movie, not like on like the Publicity tour. When she listed like her like top 5 favorite movies, the 91 Turtles or 90 Turtles was in her top 5 films of all time.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, and she like genuinely wanted this part.
And I feel like that shows in her performance.
More so than anything else she's ever done.
I really do.
This might be the first time she's ever had a role she wanted to do.
Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like she's a really good actress or that she turns in a great performance in this movie, but of the big huge issues this movie has, she's not one of them.
It's the best she has ever been in
In
anything.
anything I've seen her in, including Jennifer's Body.
And How to Lose Friends and Alienate People.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's a movie. It stars Simon Pegg. She's in it.
Oh, okay.
And she's not bad in it. I mean, she's not awful in it.
Hasn't she been acting in like TV stuff recently? I heard that. I just don't. I'm not privy to anything that she's like working on. I don't watch a lot of cable TV, so I wouldn't know.
I haven't seen her in anything, but that doesn't mean she's not in anything.
So for someone had told me that she's like doing TV roles now, and she's apparently improving acting wise, but I don't know.
She's improving.
I have no information other than the fact that she's in TV things.
She was on Sesame Street, and their acting really escalated her performance.
See, I'm with you, Cap. Like this scene here with the turtles, where they're like, in the shadows, like taking guys out. I was like, this is kind of cool,
Yeah, it's all right, and I was excited to not immediately dislike her from right away. She has a motivation. We know what she wants. It's typical, but there's a potential character arc there, and we very quickly drop it. She very quickly stops being our eyes into this world and the protagonist of this movie, and I was worried from the beginning, going into this, the Ninja Turtles would be in the background and it wouldn't really be their movie, and found myself weirdly wishing it was that movie. Once I was kind of liking her, okay.
Yeah, it kind of has the initial setup of the first Transformers movie, and maybe like all the ones that Shia LaBeouf were in. I mean, to be honest, I don't remember him that well because I only watched him once and never felt compelled to watch him again. But in that
I watched
first
all
one,
4 of them a couple of weeks ago.
But in the first one, it's kind of like the Transformers are
Eric.
just kind of like vehicles of action, and Sam Witwicky's the main character of the movie that gets character things to do. What little's there, and I think that's probably what they intended to make here, and then all the changes changed that,
Well, and we do the same thing we do with Transformers, where we wait forever to get to the Transformers. This is where you should first really see the Turtles. I have watched this with children before, and by the time we get to the Turtles, they don't care.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if that's true. Just as a movie with the story they seem to be telling initially, I don't know if I agree with that were the rest of the movie the same movie I'm watching right now. I like the idea that she's investigating this force that's in the shadows that nobody believes her about. That's made unbelievable by the fact that they're gigantic.
Okay, so this is objectively awful, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, the dialogue and her performance in this scene is just like, oh my god.
I hate it when we have people come in and talk nonsense for no reason. Like, if something happened to me, I wouldn't come home and be like, and then dragons, and I'm just not going to take any of that anymore. They'll see, and then walk away.
So why is Whoopi Goldberg in this movie?
I don't know. And she is a person who has a history of campaigning to be in geeky things.
Oh, really?
Is she in the second one?
No, she's not.
Okay.
I don't think she's in the second one. Dan? Right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't remember her being in that. But famously, of course, she campaigned to be in Star Trek, or asked to be in TNG. And I would be very surprised if that's not what happened with the Tick also.
Yeah.
That cool bit part she's got at the beginning of that pilot.
You think she campaigned to be in this? Because she's pretty inconsequential in this.
Well, that's why I'm thinking that maybe she asked to be in it somewhere. Especially because we didn't know till very late that she was in this. Like, it wasn't until we had a trailer, and I think everybody found out she was in this because of that trailer.
Yeah, I can't remember if they announced it ahead of time. I wasn't following the production of this movie very closely because I didn't expect much of it, but.
And she's not bad in this. She's good for what little she has.
She doesn't. She's
J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah,
right. She's certainly not Vern. What is it? Vernon Thompson. Yeah, that guy. I mean, that's who she is, but I think her last name is Thompson in this. So she is technically playing that character.
Well, no, Vern is who the other guy.
There's a Vernon and there's a Vern.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
That's confusing.
Yeah, remember there's a big fat guy.
I remember the boss. I just didn't remember his name was Vernon.
It's Vern. Yeah.
I guess I'm not a real Ninja Turtles fan.
I wish they had brought back the abrasive police officer from Ninja Turtles 2.
Oh, me too.
Oh, yeah.
I always think that when I watch those.
Wait, you mean one, right?
1 and 2.
Oh, is he in 2?
He's in,
Yeah.
he's in
yeah,
both
he's
of
in
them.
And
Yeah.
it's the same actor, yeah. Mm-hmm. He's got that great speech where he repeats the same word like 15 times into...
Hey, I'm now in a city. Can we go to one of these like weekly on the steps of City Hall announcements about how we're taking down crime? They're in
Well-
all the movies. I really want to see one.
Well, Eric, I gotta tell you, man, I've every time I drive by City Hall, I don't see that happening. I don't know.
You just have to watch out for mimes.
So this
So
really...
does Karai have any lines in this movie? I can't remember.
She's like Shredder. She has like 5.
Okay.
And they're not memorable. Or maybe she has 1. This is... So this really is just a TV pilot for a Ninja Turtle show, right?
Yeah.
Can we all kind
Yeah.
of agree with that? At least at the beginning of this. That's
So-
kind of... And like production value sort of feels that way too.
I mean, it's higher budget than the TV show.
Once you get to the CG stuff, but the beginning of it, especially, I'm thinking of stuff like the conversation with her friend that you're complaining about. That is
That's very
CW
TV.
TV pilot stuff.
And if there was a trailer for the CW TV pilot, that scene would be in it. The whole
All of
scene
it.
would be in the trailer.
That's right, it would, absolutely.
So, on the back of the DVD here, I'm looking at special features, and one of them is Cowabunga, the martial arts of TMNT. They're CGI characters.
Yeah.
They don't do martial arts.
Well, they sort of
Did they
I
do
mean,
mocap for them?
Yeah, they did mocap.
Oh, okay.
That's why that would be there.
So you get to watch people with balls glued to them fight each other. It's fantastic.
That's really exciting. It's really hard not to wish immediately that Shredder had, and again, because he's this, added later character, that there was, some gravitas and maybe like kind of an exciting set to put him in. Because you go back to like the 03 cartoon series and you get our introduction to him in like the big tower that he's in, where he's shrouded in shadow and stuff. Like, we finally get a live action movie and they're just in the back of a dojo.
And he's cutting off people's limbs.
Yeah.
So I really like William Fichtner.
You're right, and it's mortifying and edgy and pushing envelopes for cartoon shows. And then this is just, again, CW pilot nonsense. Anyway, I'm
I
sorry.
really like William Fichtner. I wasn't crazy about the idea of Shredder not being Asian. That seemed weird. I really
just
wish he
being-
got to be Shredder because,
Just being another
I like him.
megalomaniac running a company.
yeah. But I really like him, and he's obviously saxed for Rokosaki. Like they really badly hide that he's
Supposed to be Shredder.
It's almost a reveal that he's not the Shredder.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. Yeah, because that other guy looks like just a sidekick. And then it gets really goofy when we get the backstory and Shredder's there the whole time. And
But I think William Fichtner is due for a big role like this.
yeah, and Corporate Tycoon is good for is a good role for him.
He'd
It's
play
just-
a good Norman Osborn.
Yeah.
I always thought that. So, of course, it's super convenient that she happens to stumble onto the turtles. I mean, I realize that she's investigating and she's the only one that's doing that, but, the fact that her father created them, that's convenient.
Well, we're also doing the movie trope of, oh, I saw you when you were 8, you're now 25, but I can recognize you like that.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. Okay, so this will not make for a good podcast commentary.
Right now, April's talking to Vern in a van.
About nothing.
It's riveting.
Now there's now there's people running. I was gonna say a riot, but I don't think they're angry.
They're running in terror. They're running for their lives. That's not a riot. That's escape.
Is that a reverse riot?
No, it's not. See, yeah, I just feel like the approach after that initial opening where we're with April as long as we are, and her finding them is all wrong in introducing the villain the way we do, and then just jumping around from different perspectives, and now introducing the turtles like this in their lair behind them. I really feel like the whole first act should be with April as your central protagonist, and I don't feel like I'm rewriting the movie too much by saying that.
You know what never works in movies? When you have your characters try to appear hip by watching something that is like a decade old. Like that cat playing chopsticks with chopsticks. Yeah, like that's a 2007 joke.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't know when that came out.
I don't know exactly when that video came out, but like those kinds of videos.
Are we sure litter stops there? Because I think people do tend to litter. You know, like that's where
but not
supposed
past
to
there.
Stop. But, not it doesn't.
No,
pass there.
That's why that's
not
there.
Possible. So, Eric, would you agree with me if I were to say that maybe a mistake?
She just broke the law.
To have this scene take place in a subway. Maybe we don't do a subway again.
Yeah, unless you're really homaging that first movie, which they're not.
Not
it
really.
just kind of also happens to take place in a subway. Which
and
I mean,
once again, it's a foot soldier grabbing her and stuff. I mean, it's a different situation.
I mean, movies have taught me that subways and sewers are always connected, so like maybe there's a thing there.
Yeah, but like let's separate it a little bit because it's it's already running the risk of feeling really generic. Sorry, Dan, go ahead.
I was gonna say I agree with what Eric was saying earlier about the Foot Clan like being a paramilitary group in this movie. I really don't like that because it kind of takes away. I mean, not that this is a believable concept in the first place, but like in the first movie, like when they're like slipping out of the shadows and like stealing stuff from people, you buy like why like
Oh, that looked awful.
The National Guard hasn't come in and like eliminated them yet because they kind of like are secret. Nobody knows anything about them. Like these are just like paramilitary people like wandering around like threatening people with guns.
Well,
you wouldn't even need the turtles to stop these people necessarily.
Well, but it also kind of makes the turtles look like idiots because the Foot is supposed to be a ninja clan, and they've upgraded to guns and body armor. Why wouldn't the like you can more inherently buy that they're staying with old school ninja stuff because the Foot is also staying with old school ninja stuff,
and there's some kind of an honor code there or something.
Yeah, well, and it kind of helps you buy just the idea that you can fight modern things with old things. When your bad guys used to use that stuff but upgraded to modern, it makes it feel less believable.
Yeah, and it feels like you're just modernizing for the sake of modernizing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, everything now is ultra-militarized, and we're constantly making movies about drones and how scary surveillance is and all of that, so we've got to do that with Ninja Turtles. This falls into the trap that other Ninja Turtles things have fallen into, but I think to a worse degree than probably anything, which is there's really no reason for any of these people to be ninjas.
Well, and it really makes it feel like they just don't have a take on this material. Which they don't.
Yeah, exactly. But, like, the Ninja Turtles are too gigantic to need to know how to fight.
Yeah.
That's just how I feel about it. And they're too overpowered. They're bulletproof.
And it's kind of unbelievable that they're stealthy.
Yeah. Oh, it's entirely unbelievable. And we can play that as a joke.
Mm.
That could be kind of a funny thing where it's like, how in the world do you guys? Well, we're just that good. And that's always been kind of a thing with Ninja Turtles, where they're loud and they're rowdy and they like to make a lot of commotion, but somehow or rather, because the script says they're good at being stealthy, and that can be funny when it's played as part of the absurdity. In this movie, it's the script says they are, and in a bad way.
Well, and
that was the thing I liked about the 90s movie, because you saw real martial arts in that movie.
Well, and the 90s movies, Turtles are a little bit bigger than I wanted to be, but I can't complain about it because they're people in suits. Like, there was no other way to do that. These are entirely digitally created. There was no reason for them to look this bad and be this big.
I also don't need the generic superhero references all over this movie.
This Batman one coming up is one of the worst.
We just had it already.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That he's doing his Batman voice.
There's a story that Patton Oswalt talks about where he talks about there is a job specifically for comedians.
I also really
Sorry.
one of the things
Speaking
design wise that I don't like about the turtles in this movie is the fact that like they felt the need to make them wear what their personalities are like on their physical person rather than
Yeah.
giving them all distinct personalities in the first place. Like the colored masks and them having distinct personalities is enough. Like I don't need like Raphael with the you know I don't know.
It seems like there's a lot of lag.
Yeah, I was okay with the idea of the turtles carrying more stuff around with them, except that again, it seems like that would make it harder to be stealthy.
Yeah, especially with all of Donatello's tech, he just looks insanely large.
Yeah, like that would weigh you down a lot. You'd make a lot of noise everywhere you went.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the CG here isn't bad. It's just not well integrated enough where I feel like she's really there with them, and I really hate. And that's what I was worried about, and that's kind of what it feels like. It's a live action movie, but it's not a live action movie.
That joke's not bad.
The flipping around some of the words.
No, yeah.
I like that
joke.
joke.
Well, no, when you say it like that, it sounds ridiculous.
Yeah,
I kind of like that.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, no, that is a good joke. I like that.
But Pat Oswalt tells a story about how sometimes they have comedians come in to rewrite movies.
Yeah.
And they're not rewriting them; they're just asking them to come up with funny things people can say off screen. That Batman line has to be one of those. A lot of the jokes in this movie, I feel like they just had someone come in and say, "What's something funny?" They can just yell.
I'd be interested. I would be very interested to know if they did that for this movie.
Well, I mean, you can tell that this thing is so doctored and messed with and shredded to pieces.
Ha! Shredded.
It was the right word there, you know. If I had to pick, because I really don't like these turtle designs. If I had to pick one that's the best, it's Leonardo.
Mikey's really
I don't
bad.
mean with the faces, but like with just what they're wearing and stuff. His like Japanese armor thing in the front is kind of
the
cool.
bamboo armor.
I like
yeah,
that.
I like that. I mean, like is relative in this context.
In this context, it's okay. I think they kind of made these designs look better and work a little bit better in the second one.
Which I haven't seen.
That drop they do there seems like a Ninja Turtles drop you see everywhere.
It reminds me of the ending of TMNT.
Yeah,
This is not funny.
Which I also no, it's awful. Which I also thought was maybe an homage to some cover because we see like that same drop is in the 03 intro, I think.
Yeah, you're right.
Like it's in a bunch of places. Maybe that's a Mirage cover and I'm not remember or in a panel.
Laugh fighters don't kill scientists. Scientists kill scientists.
Scientists kill scientists. Relay Project Renaissance? Okay.
See, you were talking earlier about them not having a take on this material, and I wish they had just like taken the IDW comics like they took this concept of the turtles like being connected to April and their origin and just kind of adapted that first arc as this movie where like Raph is lost and they just took all the dialogue from it. Like just do that.
In their defense, this is only like a year after IDW starts, right?
Yeah, but they are borrowing stuff from it already.
Or that's just the like what they decided they were going to do in the comics and in the movies. Does the Nickelodeon show do that?
No.
Okay. Because sometimes with franchises, we do that.
Eric, I think you're wrong about that timetable.
I might be wrong.
The IDW book started, I think, in 11?
Well, this is 2012. They would be making it at the same time.
But they changed so much at the 11th hour. It's very possible this is a last-minute ad, especially because I'm still not convinced, and I know you don't agree with me on this, because I know there's a different script with the mutant thing. I'm still not convinced that they weren't, or with the alien thing, I'm still not convinced they weren't aliens up until the 11th hour.
And Kevin Eastman was somewhat involved with this movie. Like I know
He said this was going to be the best Ninja Turtles movie.
yeah, he said he like saw the script and like they asked him what he thought of it and stuff, and he said it was pretty good, and that like you said it was going to be the best movie.
Makes me wonder what the script looked like.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
I'm just saying
how many drafts there were.
I'm just saying that because I wouldn't be surprised if because he was co-writing the IDW comic with Waltz if he hadn't like suggested that to them or something.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. I didn't hear him say anything about the second one.
Yeah, me either.
Of course, I don't remember him saying anything about this movie after it came out either.
But I feel like I'm watching
Me
a
either.
cartoon
Yeah,
right now,
it
guys.
was only before.
After, and I mean, another thing I can't help but think watching this again is if this material had to be handled this typically, and I don't even mean as far as Ninja Turtles goes, of course, I mean like just for superhero movies, like it's hitting all the obvious beats. Could we at least have not made it an origin movie? There's really no reason it had to be.
So something that really bugs me about this movie, and I mean, I think some other things have done this a little bit with the Turtles. I hate this trying to make them hip and gangsta rappy.
I don't like it either.
Which we do specifically with Mikey. And my biggest issue is that's not an update. Because that surfer talk thing wasn't hip and cool when they did it in the comics. It was a thing they were riffing on and making fun of, and it was from the 60s. Like it had already become like a parody.
That's a really good point, yeah. And
when they were created, like hip hop was already pretty big in the '80s. So if Mikey as a character was into that kind of stuff, he would have been.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a little bit of that with the skateboarding and stuff. I mean, that's a really big '80s thing, but obviously,
and the ninja rap we
get
in the second movie, but they're not like
But that's only here because that's a staple of Ninja Turtles, and as Dan always likes to say, and it's my favorite thing ever, this is just an adaptation of the Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
I just feel like she
It is one of the better Wikipedia page adaptations, I have to say.
Like, how do you be naive enough to think that someone would buy this?
I think it's supposed to be funny.
Yeah, and it's not.
Yeah, whenever Megan Fox has to kind of play this crazy manic April, it's really cringeworthy.
Like Eric, what would you say is the problem here? Is it that we're drawing too much attention to the absurdity of Ninja Turtles as a concept?
No, it's that she's acting. She's not talking coherently. And we're supposed to believe that she wants to be like a real reporter. Like, what is she going to do when she finds a not crazy story? She's just going to come back and be like, well, there's the mob and newspapers and collusion, I swear, and the mayor.
And they've just thrown her under the bus so they can get what they think is supposed to be an amusing comedy scene.
Yeah.
And yeah. I just have a hard time because I've seen so many of this, like this exact scenario so many times, not kind of like shifting in my seat and being kind of irritable and want to just get past this stuff faster. Your typical person who's trying to prove something to someone that's ridiculous, and then they'll find out, oh, it really is, the thing that's there.
Well, I think a real strong part of the problem here is I'm no longer rooting for her because she just got exactly what she wants, which is an opportunity to sell this story,
yeah.
And she totally flubbed it. And she doesn't seem to think she flubbed it. She just thinks that she's not believing her.
Yeah, you're right. We're supposed to think that Whoopi Goldberg is being unreasonable. I guess.
Yeah, like there's a world of difference between like Lois Lane coming in and saying like I saw a man who was flying, and her coming in and be like there was a man and I was in the air and he was holding me and
Because she's acting like a conspiracy nut.
yeah, and I think he's an alien. I really hate this Splinter design.
Really?
You shouldn't see this much skin. It makes him look gross and like slimy.
Okay. I think the giant tail is kind of fun.
Yeah.
And this Hashi idea is fine, I guess. I think it's funny that now finally we've got Pizza Hut in a Ninja Turtle movie. When it was Domino's in the '90 movie, but the
ad was
VHS tape had the Pizza Hut ad.
Okay, 1, I call BS. 2,
How much money would a 99 cheese pizza cost if you got it from... And like, if Pizza Hut's going to have product placement in this, they should have a 99 cheese pizza.
But the Turtles don't ever seem to be cheese pizza guys. They've always got lots of toppings. They like
a bazillion other things on their pizza. Yeah, that's a good point. Dan, are you with us?
Yeah, there seems to be a large lag, and I don't want to interrupt you guys if you're talking.
That's all right. Interrupt us, please.
You were talking about Splinter's tail earlier. That's like the one thing that I do really like about Splinter in this is that he like fights with his tail. Because I don't think I've seen him do that a ton in other things before.
I like that he actually looks like he has rat eyes.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. Because they don't actually draw attention to it. He's just eating the pizza. They were actually able to let that joke just sit there. That was nice. I like that joke.
What's that?
I like that joke.
The aliens are stupid joke?
Yeah.
I don't like that joke.
They're aliens? No, that's stupid.
And they put that in the trailer as fodder to be like, no, don't worry, we didn't actually mess up the Ninja Turtles. We'll just make them boring and generic instead of going our own way, which might have been interesting.
Yeah, and it's proof positive that this movie was like changed as a response to what people were saying. Like they wouldn't have, put that in the movie in the trailer if they hadn't been paying attention to what people were saying for it and saying about the movie and let it affect their creative process.
Well, they knew people were angry about the aliens thing. I mean, but according to Michael Bay, that was part of an earlier draft that was before Platinum Dunes got a hold of the rights. I don't know if that's true. That's what he said. So it might just be them riffing on that there was a big controversy of the fact that they might be aliens.
I still have a tough time with that because it felt like it was... The discussion about the alien thing was so late.
Yeah, I was under the impression that Michael Bay was the person that revealed that, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's what I thought for
No, there was a script leak, and then he commented on it.
Okay.
Because that's how we knew all that stuff about how, like, Casey Jones was in it, and Rocksteady and Bebop were in it, and all that stuff. And just none of that is in this movie, so I feel like it had to have been a way earlier draft.
But why is this so watered down? Because it feels like an 11th hour script where, and like, beyond the alien thing, there clearly have to be other things that they changed way late in the game because of complaints, like the fact that Fisher's character isn't the Shredder, right?
Yeah,
That's late in the game. I think probably whatever the origin is in this was way different at one point.
You might be right.
And probably that got changed real late. Like I feel like they put their tail between their legs and they got in like damage control mode before anybody even saw their movie.
Or they
kind of like Warner's has been doing a lot lately. And so like lots of things ended up getting super watered down. Now, I'm not saying that whatever they had before was necessarily better, because I don't know what it is.
Or they didn't like or were not confident in their script, and they just kind of went in with a skeleton of a script and were writing it as they were making it.
Which happens a lot.
Yeah. And sometimes it works. I mean, let's be fair.
This entire scene is an indication that at least this was changed.
Yeah, this really is weird to set up without him being Shredder.
Yeah, it feels so arbitrary and weird. And I think that makes it, I'm sorry to say, difficult for people not to look at this and just say, well, we wanted our We wanted our bad guy to be a recognizable face.
Also, the Dark Ages is a European concept. It's not a Japanese concept.
I didn't know that. Thanks for throwing that out there.
Well, he just said it brought on the Dark Ages. That's
Okay.
not
Yeah.
it's not a Japanese thing, at least as far as I'm aware. I'm not an expert, but
Dan, this mural is really reminiscent of that mural in Ninja Turtles 3.
I was thinking the same thing when he was talking about the 9th century warlord. I was like, oh, Norinaga.
That must be the warlord. It all comes together. It's a soft reboot somehow, Dan.
I wish that Norinaga made an appearance.
Well, it's
in this.
like-
him and
it's
Tatsu.
like-
They both need to be in this movie.
it's like the new Star Trek, where it's only everything before we meet the turtles is the same.
Right. Something with that scepter. You guys, we are 37 minutes into this movie. It's just such a slog.
It feels like we are like
How they soft rebooted this is they,
and yet nothing has really happened yet.
how they soft rebooted this universe is they blew up feudal Japan. And then everything
And
changed.
that's what caused the Dark Ages.
Of course. Let's just like apply other like European history to Japan for no reason. Like the bubonic plague was a big issue in Japan.
So there can't be anybody watching this, and I mean, like, even if you weren't paying attention to production history, Fincher's the bad guy. There can't be anybody watching that not thinking, well, yes, of course, he's going to be the bad guy, right? Like, that's not going to be a reveal. There's not going to be a double cross that anybody's going to be impressed with.
And given that they threw that line about the aliens, why isn't there a line at the end of this movie where it's like, I really thought that was going to be you? Like, why isn't like April standing next to him when the Shredder's there? It's like
I knew it.
I thought that was going to be you.
So I mentioned the Project Renaissance thing earlier. I hadn't thought of this until now, but that's so dumb because she names the turtles.
Mm-hmm.
So like that name only works if like the subjects are named by the project. Just throwing that out there.
This is true.
Okay, really, don't put your arm around her, because even though I know you're not trying to crush her face, you could totally crush her face. You're enormous.
They told her to meet them on a roof, of course.
On a roof, of course.
They mentioned the Xavier Academy.
Because that's what people call that.
Yeah, I've never seen it called that before.
I do think it's funny that she has a Ninja Turtle face drawn on her bag. I like this lair. It's not Ninja Turtles
not
too
bad.
cool, but it's cool. The problem with it, of course, is finally we get to see it as a set. Before this, pretty sure it was always CG, or at least it felt like it was, because
Well, I mean, let's
seeing
be
CG
honest. They
creatures in
could
it.
have just built like an area for her to walk on and still be CGing everything.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, you can tell how much of this is actually built.
Yeah, at least that pillar right there is real.
No, behind her, I really think this is all a set. I haven't looked into this, but that all looks like it's really there, and that wall of boomboxes is pretty clearly an actual image.
If I was making this movie, given how little she's in that set, I wouldn't build that set. That seems like a waste of money since it's going to be mostly occupied by CGI people.
But then we have foot soldiers and stuff in it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that makes it kind of harder to do that, I would say.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, yes, you do have the Shredder mech robot in there, and that's going to be all CG.
I forgot all about that.
But yeah, they're going to run... Well, yeah, because...
I was thinking all of that stuff happened in the mountain base.
This is... I don't want to say it's beat for beat the 90 movie, but there's so much stuff that's just that, and then they tweak it a little bit to act like they're being clever. Like, oh, it's not Splinter that gets kidnapped this time. It's or Raphael, because we've done that before in the previous franchise. So it'll be the 3 turtles that don't usually get kidnapped. And I will go on my whole tirade when we get there, because that's my favorite thing to complain about.
He's kind of bad here, and I think he's doing that on purpose.
Fincher?
Because he doesn't want to be in this scene.
You think this was a reshoot?
Because it's...
Well, it has to be a reshoot.
It has to be.
Is that a CGI person? Because I don't think they'd really
Is he
cast
really
him.
there?
Because they don't cast him until the second one, right? I mean, as like a person, right?
No, there was an actor that was cast as the Shredder in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
in
Does
late
he return
production.
in the second one?
No, it's a different.
No,
actor
it's a
in the
different
second
guy.
one.
Okay.
But it's not fair to say he's not cast. I mean, and he has lines. He has really obvious lines. See, when I first saw this, like, I remembered him having almost no dialogue. He has a couple speeches.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like in the first Downey Sherlock Holmes, there was clearly someone there talking and their hands playing Moriarty, but he's not really cast. But you're right, we're seeing him a lot more than I remember.
He's got a face. I mean, he's there.
But I didn't remember that. That's what I was
okay.
saying. I didn't think he was like really cast this movie. I thought he was like entirely in the shadows.
And I remembered him having a face, but I thought he had no dialogue. And he actually gets stuff to say. And some of it's okay. I mean, it's villain schlocky dialogue, but
And if they pull this from the IDW comics, they don't actually talk to Tom Waltz because they have no idea about the reincarnation thing.
right.
Because without that, it really feels weird that we don't have Hamato Yoshi. Like that's a real part of the mythology that's just missing.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
And also, if you're gonna go with this, she really should have grown up to be a lab assistant,
Oh yeah.
right? Like, it's kind of weird that her dad is a lab tech guy, or the scientist, I guess, and then she grows up and she's a reporter. Like, I mean, I'm not saying she has to follow in his footsteps, but for people that haven't seen anything but the old cartoon and the movies, of which there are many, who would go to see this just because it's a big budget Ninja Turtles movie, it would have been a big surprise for her to not be the reporter.
How does this look worse than the scene in the 90s movie?
And it does. It's bad. And we're about to get to the stupidest thing of the background, which is Splinter
Reads
he reads a book, and somehow or other that gives him a Japanese accent, and he understands all the stuff about not just martial arts but the philosophy, I guess.
Yep, that's right. It's really dumb.
I hate
mean,
you, Mikey.
I would like this better if we were kind of, if it was kind of a little bit of a commentary on how culture has degenerated, but
No, it's embracing that.
it is embracing that. And I know not everybody would agree with me with that stuff. Some people like those things, but I think we somehow or rather have kind of dumbed the Turtles down even farther than what they were originally. And when I say originally, I mean, the 87 show and the 90s movie and stuff. I mean, they obviously aren't.
Ninjutsu.
Sorry, what?
I
How
just
does
love
he
this
learn how
book.
to
It's
read
just called The
Japanese?
Art of Ninjutsu, and it's really thin.
And doesn't have a lot of words in it.
Yeah.
And they're all in Japanese.
I do like that he says, I learned the ancient art of ninjutsu, because that's the name of the book. I don't know how he knows it's ancient, though. Because the book looks
Why
ancient.
are they wearing those bandana things? Like, and why does Donnie already have... Like, okay. So the bandana
His
things
goggles?
clearly are designed after what they grow up to look like. Except for Mikey, who's got a pirate eye patch because he's the silly one. But really, why?
Oh, that looks so bad. It's just, none of this looks like it's really there.
Hey, you remember the Karate Kid?
Oh, yeah. Although, to be fair, we did a Karate Kid joke in Ninja Turtles 2.
As a Turtles fan, like, all of the issues with these scenes notwithstanding, it is kind of cool to get to see them when they're younger. Like, that's not a thing we focus on a lot. I mean, I know it's not like a long scene or anything, but when I was in the theater, I was like, oh, it's kind of cool that we're going back and getting to see them when they're younger than, we usually do.
There's one issue in the Mirage comics where they do that, and it's really cool.
Oh, really? Cool. I'll have to check that out.
Dan's trying to give this movie something.
Mirage did it better.
Dan hasn't even read that. He's like, that's cool, they did it better. I didn't even know about that. It was better. I guess Raphael's design's okay too.
Look how slimy he is. I just don't like it.
See, I don't know. I really hate Raphael's design because his mask is a do-rag. I don't know.
I don't like
Looks
it.
weird.
Oh yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Good
I mean,
for
you can like
Rasco,
the do-rag.
bad for
That's fine.
Raphael.
I just hate it personally.
Well, it's funny because Next Mutation had them all in do-rags,
Yeah.
if memory serves.
No, they each have the Next Mutation. I think is actually close to this, where they all have slightly unique
Different
designs.
ones? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I haven't watched that in a long
We'll
time. but I
find out
think so.
soon when we finally get into our Turtle Torture series, which really should start with this episode.
But I don't think
with
this
this
is
commentary.
awful. I feel like this movie is watchable. Truly, its greatest sin is that it is immediately forgettable.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. There are things in it that are watchable. I will almost go as far as to say torture as a commentary subject, because we're all having a real hard time coming up with interesting things to say while we're watching this.
I like the Shredder design.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't.
I mean, if you're gonna go mech suit, it doesn't look bad. I like the mask.
Okay. Well, I mean,
It wouldn't be my first choice to go
It's
mech
fine if
suit,
you
but
wanted
if you're
to
gonna
say-
do that,
I don't.
I'm glad
once
it is
again,
way smaller and sleeker than I would have expected it to be.
You're right. Yeah, okay, it is cool looking as a mech suit. So you're right. The design of it is cool. Obviously, I'm just complaining about the idea of doing that because once again, why do any of these people need to be good at
Ninjas.
martial arts?
Yeah.
To be fair, this Shredder does look more like Silver Samurai than the one in the Wolverine movie, so.
Yeah, yes, and that's what I would have expected. That's more of what I would have expected it to look like in this movie.
Yeah.
Was a big bulky mech. I like that it's like a power armor, but it is kind of sleek. It's way smaller than I would have expected it to be in this movie.
I just don't know why we feel the need to make, like, anyone who is vaguely samurai like a giant mech suit. I don't know, it's
Because Japan gives us giant robots.
weird. Okay.
We're just it's peanut butter and chocolate. It's two great flavors that taste great together.
The other problem with forcing Shredder in, of course, is that we're already having a hard enough time making, with that whole thing, making Splinter and Shredder feel like they have any kind of a rivalry. It should be Splinter and Sax, really.
Mm.
And even then, there's not a lot there.
Yeah.
It's not like you cut off his ear or
Once
anything.
again, by using the IDW origin without doing the reincarnation stuff, it doesn't work because they don't have connections to each other.
Yeah. I also don't know how you do all that and you didn't have Baxter Stockman there from the beginning.
Yeah, good point. I mean, if they'd planned this out, Sax would have been Stockman.
Sure. And that'd be okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, to have them teamed up from the beginning, sure. I mean, that's a thing we do all the time with him. And this, if you're gonna do all this like robotic stuff, have Mouser robots. Let's have somebody that actually built this stuff. Like, wouldn't it be cool if you had Baxter Stockman and he built the samurai suit, and then that's an explanation for it at least, right?
Well, it's better than these paramilitary foot ninja.
They're just, I mean, like, I'm going to be a broken record here. It is no fun to watch these turtles fight.
And these are all clearly CGI people, too. You know, you said they must have built this set. I'm not convinced there's anybody here.
There are bits where there are. You're right. Right now, there's not.
Oh, man, it's so cool to see that cartoon ride that cartoon skateboard into those cartoon people. I'm so invested.
Get it? Mikey likes Orange Crush because he wears orange.
Who loves orange soda?
Cal loves orange soda.
Is it true?
So-
How does he know who Shredder is? Did I miss that?
Because Shredder was there in the lab. He talks about all that.
Okay. I've only seen this film twice.
And remember, Shredder doesn't have a name in this. He's just Shredder. He's not a Rokusaki. He's just...
That's because he was supposed to be
Sax.
Sax.
That's right.
Well, yeah,
What's his
because
first
Eric
name?
Sachs is supposed to be like the
A Rokusaki,
Americanized
yeah.
version of a Rokusaki name-wise, right? That's
Yeah.
what they were trying to go for.
I think it is the romanticized. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it is the. I love that.
That's
I love.
cool.
We got knives. We got lots of knives, and we have the best knives.
the front.
Even more knives.
I don't like the staging of this whole thing with that, like, looking like a fighting game arena and everything, because it just feels like that is a place where I feel justified, Eric, in saying I feel like I'm watching a video game.
Well, and it would have been cool if they really kind of leaned into that.
Yeah.
And just it was actually staged like a fighting game
Maybe so.
for like a little 1 minute sequence. That could have been fun.
But like, really, all of this, it looks like a cutscene in a video game.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm watching a movie
It looks
right
like
now.
playing Soul Calibur 2.
And you're right, like, this, I might be wrong, but I don't think we're actually taking a camera into the set right now.
Why would we?
And because it would look more realistic if we did. That'd be the reason to do it. You take the camera in and you do all the choreography like they're really there, or you have them in mocap suits in the set.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Well, you're making a movie. Why don't you do it right?
Well, I mean, let's be honest, or let's be fair. Isn't the director of this movie like kind of a nobody who's just made like a couple of straight-to-DVD horror movies?
Yeah, and it looks like a rush job because it probably was a rush job.
Mm-hmm. You know what the worst part about these turtles is? I mean, the CGI bits? They don't react to light well. They don't, like, they're moving through all these differently lit areas,
And we're not even trying.
and the light barely changes on them.
Boy, that's a great
Yeah, that's
point.
right. I never noticed that before, but now I can't unsee it. Even the Shredder here. Like, he's supposed to be in, like, glimmering armor and stuff.
Some of it looks okay. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
We've got
right
some
now
stuff.
we got some light playing on it, yeah.
playing on it now, yeah.
Earlier, though, like,
Well, at least here there's like one big light, and it seems like they knew to move in and out of light. But we're moving through areas with light, and we're not reacting to it really. The way it would if it was really there.
Now, see, if you
We're
were
a little bit
invested in anything that was going on right now, you would not even notice that. You start going to things like the lighting is unrealistic when you don't care about what's going on.
I started noticing that, and somebody pointed out in something, and like it just kills it, and I've just started noticing in things. Oh, we're playing with light a little bit.
So we've also got, I didn't notice that before, we've also got the thing that we do in the IDW comics where we talk about Splinter like he's actually their father.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no reason to do that here. I'm not saying that you can't necessarily have them think of him as their father and calling him dad
Well, they've always
without
called
the
him father.
incarnation, but
Or sensei. I mean,
Well,
sensei's different than father, but I feel like
right.
they do usually call him father.
yeah, you're right. Sometimes they'll go in and out of that. So maybe I'm wrong.
The emotion I'm getting from this scene is that it is sad.
Yeah, right.
Ooh, Donnie looks bad.
That look is preposterous. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, doesn't Raphael call him father in the 90 movie?
Yeah, I
You're
think he
right.
does.
Okay, I revoke that complaint. Electrocuting.
We didn't think
people
you
in
would
slow-mo.
do anything. What did they think was going to happen?
Well, if once they understand what the whole villain plot is, they should really think something different would have happened than what's about to happen.
And what were they reacting to? No, it's not like he like stabbed Splinter like through the chest or something. What were they knowing?
I don't know. Okay, so can I get into it now?
yes.
Okay, so here we go. We'll find here pretty soon that the only reason they want the turtles is for the mutagen in their blood. So they take the 3 alive and kicking turtles that are gigantic and hard to put in a truck, and they leave the one they think is dead and the rat that is smaller and would be easier to subdue and move.
Yeah, I was thinking
And
the
there's
same thing.
no discussion at all about whether or not they need them alive, but there's no reason that they would need them alive.
Well, and if they need them alive, just take Splinter.
And they're going to take... Exactly. But they never even talk about the fact that Splinter also has mutagen in his blood. Like, this movie is so unthoughtful about that. I think it actually thinks that we're dumb enough not to think, hey, wait a minute, Splinter is also a mutant and has mutagen in his blood.
Man, it is really hard for any emotion to resonate with Raphael when he's got those stupid sunglasses on his head.
And then they're going to be like, and then Sax is going to have that line that Dan loves about, like, bleeding them even if it kills them.
Oh, get those sunglasses
and you're like,
off
well,
your head.
Clearly, it doesn't matter if they're alive then.
Yeah, exactly.
Gravity.
Do you guys think these rocks are real?
Dan,
no.
quit asking stupid questions.
Project Almanac. It's coming
That's
to
a
theaters,
thing.
guys.
Bet it's better than this.
I bet it's not.
I don't know what it is, but
Okay, he was just holding his phone like he was shaving with it.
yes, he was. It was. That's what we now call the dramatic phone hold.
I'm gonna hold my phone like that all the time now.
Even if it kills them.
You know, every once in a while, I have every last drop of my blood
But I'm
drained,
still...
and it doesn't kill me.
No, it doesn't even stop me, Eric. I'm still going full tilt, man. I'm still on the treadmill, no problem. It's Mountain Dew. It's the elixir of life.
Mm-hmm. I'm rewriting the movie, but wouldn't it have been kind of interesting if he said Leonardo? Because, like, Raphael was like, oh no, he loves Leonardo more than me.
Oh, sure, yeah. Now let's just make it a CW love triangle. Let's do that.
It's better than this.
Yeah, so's jumping onto a bicycle with the seat missing.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
This movie is not that... I would remember that. I'm just going to forget this movie once the credits hit.
That's totally right. And that's the thing is that he does all this really stupid, unsmart stuff, but you don't even remember that because it's so dull.
Okay, so he just made this really weird sandwich. It's... Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to explain it. Because it's mustard and Parmesan.
What?
And he's listening to George Michael. Now, this is because in Arrested Development, the actor who plays Colonel Mustard in Clue plays a character called Gene Parmesan, and there was also a character named George Michael, and there's a joke in that show where he eats a Parmesan and mustard sandwich, so he did it here while listening to George Michael.
Oh.
Oh, I didn't realize that of all things, Arrested Development would be a prerequisite for watching the Ninja Turtles movie.
You might actually like that.
I mean, that's a fun nod, I guess.
It is for me, because I'm a fan of him on Arrested Development and Arrested Development in general, except for that latest season.
I'm a little worried that this movie is going to make me not like that guy.
But here's the thing, is without all that context, you're just watching a scene of a man eating a mustard and Parmesan sandwich.
Which
I know you like this guy,
for how
Captain Logan,
goofy
because
that-
he played Lego Batman.
He is. He's Lego Batman.
Okay, so I like him as a voice actor.
Yeah. he's-
And you must remember him in Jonah Hex.
No, I don't. Who was he in that?
He's just some guy that actually, when you finally rewatch Jonah Hex for some reason, because I know you're going to have to do it for something at some point.
If once I get there on rewind.
That entire movie, he just does the Lego Batman voice.
Okay, I did not realize he was Lego Batman. I do love Lego Batman.
I like him as
Now,
BoJack Horseman too. That Netflix animated series.
Oh, I love BoJack Horseman.
Now which Lego Batman is he? Is he
He's the Lego movie.
Oh, he's the Lego movie one.
And he's going to be in the Lego Batman movie.
Right, which
First try.
First try.
But yeah, no, I also love. I forgot he was BoJack Horseman, but that's one of my favorite shows.
That show's phenomenal.
Okay, so he's cool. I don't like him in this.
You must love him.
You must love him in everything he's ever been in.
I do like that line. That they were going to use rabbits. I think that's kind of funny.
Oh, well, that doesn't seem so bad.
What do you mean?
He said, all we're trying to do is create an antidote. And I was like, oh, well, that doesn't seem so bad. Sure, just take some of our blood.
And this whole plot it doesn't make any sense. The government is not going to make you richer because you saved the city.
Okay, hold on. Time out. Before we get into this silliness,
It's not how that.
Can we talk about the silliness of the snowy mountainside right outside New York City?
Is that where they are?
They are right outside New York City.
Okay, well that's yeah.
Because I remember seeing the trailer. I'm like, how are they going to get the turtles to like a snowy mountainside? Like this must be like a world-spanning film. No, they're right outside.
Well,
New
not
York City.
necessarily because like upstate New York has a lot of snow when it's.
But we see how close they are to the city.
My God.
Like we are right outside the city.
Okay.
I imagine if I saw the second film, that big jungle is also right outside the city, but on the other side of it.
I don't remember where that is. That movie also not memorable.
It totally just occurred to me, Eric, when you mentioned the Dark Ages thing, that they totally mentioned that because this is supposed to be him creating the new bubonic plague that he'll provide the cure for.
Which is funny because I made that joke earlier, which is also not a thing in Japan.
Yeah, exactly.
They're an island nation. They did not get the bubonic plague. Someone's going to comment telling me I'm an idiot and that everything I'm saying is wrong.
As far as I know, I mean, I'm not a Japanese history expert either.
All you have to do is claim this movie made you dumber.
Sure,
and you're
sure.
off the hook. You are off the hook.
Well, I am bleeding from my ears and nose. Do you think that might be from this movie?
It's possible, and you still think
it's not that bad.
So
it's
what?
Not
so
that
what
bad.
you're saying is you would rather bleed from the ears and nose than jump onto a bicycle with the seat missing.
Well, I'm not bleeding from my eyes.
I don't. And he's got a toothpick in his teeth.
That would have been way better if it just hit the door and stopped. And he had the ninja in.
Yeah, I've seen that gag so many times.
And it's always funny.
I don't think it would be funny here because I don't like that guy.
You
well,
really
it'd be
hate
funny.
this guy.
It would be funny if it stopped and he's like, maybe you should ninja in. I don't know.
I gotta be honest with
Wait,
you
did
guys.
he just bust out the side of that car?
Yes, he did. I don't think I would be as bothered by him if it weren't for the Transformers movies. He just reminds me too much of the comedy in those.
Probably.
And the obvious not funny comic relief character. Did you have to say that
because
line?
it's an apple?
Did you have to say that? Take a bite out of the bigot? No. Did that have to be in slow motion? Dan, I'm getting to where I was in Ninja Turtles 3. I'm just going to ask questions.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Dan, you're supposed to have the answers.
Somewhere in New York City, like the mayor is gonna, when he gets this message for a ransom, he's just gonna be like, "Look, we didn't pay Kurt Connors. We're not gonna pay you." Dispersing chemicals into the city. So
Yeah,
William
and wouldn't
Fichtner walked
everyone-
off scene, and now he's back, and now the Shredder's here. Do you think they're the same person?
I don't know. I think they might be the same person. But, comic book movie logic, nobody would ever notice that. Okay, the helmet's cool. No, it's a good design. Even if I don't
what it
want it to.
is.
Yeah, sure.
If it has to be a mech, it's a cool mech.
It's fine, yeah.
It reminds me of Super Shredder's design.
Yeah.
Just because it's so big and, like, the mask looks kind of similar.
I kind of want him to be a little bit bigger than the Turtles, actually. I can't believe I'm complaining that the mech robot suit isn't big enough. But
the way he has all the stuff.
I don't know about that. He's so slender compared to them.
That's why I like it.
Okay.
But all of the stuff on the back of his arm.
I'm complaining
and
about
his
scale
back,
before anything. But
well, he's got like a lot of stuff on like the back of his arm and his back, which I guess is where he stores all his knives. But to me,
that's where he keeps his stuff.
It looks like those old like Ninja Turtles toys that like transform into something else.
Yeah.
And there's like a shredder, and they don't have anywhere to store anything, so he's just like really bulky, and his cape is huge. Like that's what he looks like. He looks like a toy.
But now that you say that,
stored.
that's kind of what the Turtles turtles look like, because because you had that transforming ones where the little turtle goes inside the big turtle, and then so that's what it is. They transform into tinier turtles, and the Shredder transforms into what? A bigger Shredder, the Technodrome.
Wait, so you guys saying we're
turns
watching
into
a toy
Shredder
commercial?
Blade?
Because that hadn't occurred to me within the first 5 minutes of this movie.
Overdose imminent.
Yeah, and this adrenaline joke, not that funny.
I don't remember it.
Well, they get pumped full of adrenaline, and they act like they've drank like 15 Mountain Dews.
That's not what an overdose is.
Well, yeah, but maybe it is for giant Ninja Turtle, like Mutant Turtles.
But then why would the computer say overdose imminent? Like that's just kind of.
I guess it's calibrated for people and not giant turtles.
Why would you calibrate it for people if you're going to put giant turtles in there?
How could you calibrate it for giant turtles if you've never had a giant turtle?
I don't think they thought this villain plot through very well.
No, I mean, like all you have to do is say anything, and you've already poked 15 holes in it.
I really wanted William Fichtner to react to some of the things in this movie, like the villain from the Muppets movie, where he just goes, maniacal laugh.
Well, that's one of the things that, even though I think it's kind of dull, the sequel has going for it, is that it goes more full tilt, just silly cartoon show.
Watch.
Yeah, because Crane yells, "Families for weaklings!"
Like Friends!
I'm actually more excited to do a commentary on that one.
At some point, we're going to pull back and we're going to see a shot, and you're going to see that we were right next to New York City. Who cares?
Yeah, you're bulletproof. Now, they wouldn't know they're bulletproof because they've never been shot at before.
But they fought them before with guns.
Yeah,
but I think they dodged all the bullets before, because now they're like, oh, look, we see, they didn't even know they were bulletproof.
And if we're that scared of guns, why don't we have guns? It doesn't make sense for them to be scared of guns.
I don't know.
They would have guns. Then they would just use guns. They wouldn't be ninjas.
The only reason
that was necessary.
Yeah. Eric, the only thing where I think you're kind of onto something is
the only thing.
No. Just hear me out. the only reason, because I don't think you're right, except for the fact that the ninja teachings come from nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
If the ninja teachings actually came from somewhere, then no, Splinter wouldn't let them have guns. See, they'd have an honor code, and they wouldn't go around with guns.
Well, but my issue is that the Foot Clan also are ninjas, and they have guns. So if ninjas are using guns in the modern day, then they would be using guns in the modern
Unless
day.
they don't believe in doing that, because their honor code prohibits that. It wouldn't matter. Like, we've had foot soldiers with guns before, and the Ninja Turtles don't use them.
They totally could have made it a thing where, like, the Shredder was, like, turning the Foot Clan into something that, it wasn't, like, according to the old beliefs, and Splinter wanted to adhere to
That's what happens in the IDW comics.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, you mean like a story we've done a bunch of times with these turtles?
Yeah.
Something that actually pulls from the source material.
But I don't like your argument that escalation must go both ways.
But there's no discussion about it being escalation. It just seems like modern day ninjas use guns, and for some reason they decided not to. Because it wasn't in the Art of Ninjutsu book.
No, you're right, but there's not any discussion about anything. It just...
That's true.
Like... They clearly are supposed to be heroes that have regard for life. They're not going to carry guns.
I think they had the Foot Clan use guns because that's cool. Like in no other...
Yeah.
And topical.
Well, look, if we're going to be that topical, then Shredder should just be a drone.
Sure.
He should be called the Shredder drone, and then we could have had Sax be the Shredder the whole time, and he doesn't even put on the mech suit. He has a drone.
And in the second one, we can have the Techno drone.
The Techno drone, of course. Naturally. You're welcome. I set you up for that.
You're welcome. I spiked it.
Good job. Got right over the net. The Turtles' voices are fine. I don't have any complaints.
I don't really like Donatello's voice very much. It's too, like, overly nerdy for me.
I don't like Mikey's voice.
Okay, that's
but
fine.
I just don't like Mikey, so that
I don't
might
like
be
Mikey's characterization in this. So I can't blame the voice actor.
I hate everything.
I don't think.
Well, we knew that before we watched this movie.
That's why we invited you here. We needed somebody that hated everything. Steve wasn't available, and he actually likes this movie.
He does? Oh,
Yeah.
Nice.
I wanted to make sure
Everyone
that...
is.
I wanted to... Given that Steve has this hilarious reputation for hating everything, I felt the need somewhere in this commentary
also
that
likes
Steve
Dracula
likes this
Untold.
movie. No!
Oh, yeah, Steve likes
I've
Dracula
not seen
Untold.
that, but I know people don't like that movie.
I'm just convinced Steve hasn't been persuaded to hate those things yet.
Man,
Okay, we don't have to make this whole conversation
I've
about
never, I mean, I've only seen this
Dislike
movie
movie.
twice before and haven't put a lot of thought into it. I hate those sunglasses on Raphael's head. They're so dumb.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, we know this. You've already said that.
He still has them on! He has not removed them!
There is way too much slow motion in this movie. Just super unnecessary, trying to be
Which
a
is
ride.
part of what makes it feel so much like a Michael Bay thing.
Exactly, and it's all 3D.
They haven't reused footage from one of his old movies yet, though. So
Well, nobody died making this movie.
I do like that they have the skateboard with the rocket packs, with the jets in the back. That's kind of fun. But again, that's why I really wanted this movie to go more full tilt '87 cartoon, and then we did get some of that with the second one.
see, that's how they answered the Foot Clan's escalation. They're like, "You have guns, we have rocket boards."
Yes.
You know, I will say, I like that they are enjoying the actions. Like, I like that they're having fun in this scene.
Mm.
That's the thing that there isn't a lot in this movie, I feel
You know, I
like.
keep thinking of really cool explanations for why these turtles wouldn't carry guns that aren't in the movie, and it's starting to
None
drive
of
me
them are in the
crazy.
movie.
No, I know that, but I mean, like, Donatello in so many different versions of Ninja Turtles is played as the pacifist, and even if Splinter didn't have much of an honor code or anything, because we just don't really know where any of that comes from, that could have been the reason. Well, he makes all their tech, he's not going to make guns.
Yeah. I wish Donatello had much more to do in this movie in general. I mean, not that that's
none of them.
not a complaint with like almost every Ninja Turtles thing, but you know.
And they're not exactly interchangeable. They just all have like one prevailing character trait, and they all work completely as a unit all the time.
Yeah, and I
So
feel
it
like
is kind of
Raphael
one
had that little
character.
like, you know, part where he had to go save his brothers because, you know, that's Raphael was the main focus of a lot of the stories in the comics.
Oh no, I also think it's just because it's an inversion of what usually happens. Raphael has to get saved constantly. I'm telling you, that's why they did that.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I feel like Raphael like has his own solo adventures in the comics a lot too.
Well, no, that's a reason too, just so that he gets something to do in this, and that's the reason he's the one that gets the speech at the end.
Yeah,
You know, absolutely. But you always have to have somebody get kidnapped in a Ninja Turtles thing,
mm-hmm.
They're
and-
so big they break a hump.
and it's always Splinter or it's Raphael. So here they think they're clever by having it be everybody else.
Well, I mean, the 03 series is all about Leo. Almost to that show's detriment, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's true. I need to watch some more of that again. It's been so long.
Well, I've got
But I
the whole
love
first
that.
season.
I love that first season. Oh,
that
that'd be
show's
fun.
great.
Yeah.
I would really enjoy watching that again. The way they adapt the Shredder stuff and the destruction of the second time around and all that, it's really, really good.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny. It wouldn't have been funny if he just said April, but because he says and the other
And
guy,
the other guy,
who's not young,
it's not funny.
I like him.
I just love how you are both like diametrically opposed in your opinion about this guy. Eric absolutely loves him, and Captain Logan can't stand him.
I'm not even saying like I love him in this movie. I just like him in everything, and so
I still am getting no sense of relative space between where they just were in the city.
and I've been noticing
we
that.
never had a like. I don't know, man. I
Maybe
don't
I'm
know where they were.
misremembering. But regardless, there are no mountains like that in New York. I don't think. Like those are mountains.
Does New York not have mountains?
I don't think New York has. Nah, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know things.
Yeah, but you sure talk like you do sometimes.
That's what comments are for,
They
so they
don't-
can tell me I'm wrong.
The point is that we shouldn't be talking about the mountainscapes of New York if they exist while watching this movie.
Yes, exactly. There should be lots more interesting things we're talking about.
Okay, so I guess at some point they got in the sewage tubes in the mountain, in the uninhabited mountains, and now they're back into the city.
So you win. That's ridiculous.
But it's not as ridiculous as what I thought it was. I thought I remembered that when they got to the cliff, you could see New York City.
So did they not take a truck
this
or
is
something
still
to a place and then do that? Or were they still in the mountains when they did that? I can't tell where we are ever. That line makes no sense. Like what you've got.
But it's funny.
No, it's not. You've got this.
Captain Logan's reaction to this guy is so much funnier than anything he says in this movie.
You got this turtle that's hitting on you. You're a complicated chick.
You know, if this was a Transformers movie, he would have grabbed her boob. Like, at least he didn't do that.
Well, he stared at her butt earlier and crashed the truck, so they got pretty close.
Hey, have you guys seen Star Wars? You remember that time in Star Wars when Han Solo runs around the corner and there's a bunch of stormtroopers there?
That's a really good point you're making right now.
Yeah. They didn't react like Han
Do you
Solo.
remember that time in Star Wars where Luke Skywalker breaks the things and the doors won't open so the stormtroopers can't get him?
Remember that part in Star Wars where all the heroes of the movie get in an elevator and they start like beatboxing and
You remember that time in Star Wars where the bad guy in the mechanical suit with the helmet is waiting for something to be fully armed to fire?
Okay, so I've got to complain about this.
I like this scene.
The other thing, I like this scene too, but the problem is the entire scene was in the trailers, so
I didn't see it. Somehow I missed it. I was completely caught off guard when I saw the scene.
Maybe it wasn't the entire scene. There was a good chunk of this, and I like how long it goes. I think that's funny. But again, we needed more of this, or the turtles needed to be more in the background. One or the other. It needed to be either a character movie for April with the turtles as kind of, background characters, or not background, but her supporting characters, or the whole thing needed to be about them. Because that's not as great of a scene if I'm not already rooting for them the way I want to be, a whole
Strike
hour
pose.
and 19 minutes into this. But okay, so here's the thing. You got this big thing on top of a tower that is clearly going to be where all of this mist is coming from that's killing people. This gas. Mm-hmm. And it's a building he owns, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's gonna pretend to solve this problem that he obviously caused. I do not understand this plot, even a little bit.
Well, luckily, within that building, Gwen Stacy is developing an antidote.
Oh, good. Boy, this makes the lizard plot in Amazing Spider-Man look genius.
Makes Venom's plot in Spider-Man 3 look genius. Makes Bane's plot look about
I don't
the
know
same.
how far I want to take this.
About the same.
Who invited Eric? Now I got to read those comments.
I mean, I think we can all agree this is about as coherent as Dark Knight Rises, yeah?
I don't understand the third act of Dark Knight Rises as far as that.
Do you understand this third act?
Plot. No,
so they're the same.
I also don't understand the first act, so... No, they're not on the same
He has
level.
never shot a gun before.
Do you think
for
this
the
scene
record,
with
The Dark Knight Rises is not only a better film, but a way more memorable film. You have to give it that.
That's true.
Do you think that scene with William Fichtner is supposed to be from earlier in the movie, or it's a reshoot?
I don't know. He doesn't know how to shoot a gun.
Yeah.
That's how I shoot guns. I just lunge.
That's
You know what?
So.
I'm gonna be interested. I'm gonna pay attention to this now. If they're ever on screen together, because if they're not on screen together, I guarantee you somebody else is shooting at them, and they just later make it William Fichtner.
That's so funny.
I wonder.
Why would you think of all things that would like who would be shooting at them? What would be the situation?
It would just be like a
Foot
Foot
Clan.
Clan. Yeah, I assume it would just be like Foot Clan people shooting at them.
Here's why here's why I think that's bogus though.
Well, let's wait and see.
Unless they do a no, hear me out though. Unless they do even another reshoot where they do an insert thing shot thing for April, she is clearly acting there in response to what he's saying, because he's revealing to her that he killed her father. So I don't know about that.
Okay.
That's true. It could be from earlier in the movie, like this Shredder battle could be taking place at a different time.
Yeah, sure.
What the original movie was though.
I think there are likely other things like that, Eric, in a lot of reshoots, but like I wouldn't have thought to go to that scene as a thing that's hobbled together like that.
Well, it was just because I was noticing that they weren't ever actually together.
But that's because he's far away from them.
Okay. Well, I mean, but sometimes you do shots where there are people that are in the same room but not next to each other and you can see them. I'm not saying that...
Well, that's true, yeah.
Yeah, you get coverage and you do the back and forth, and I wasn't seeing any coverage. Oh, the sunglasses!
So they act like this Buck thing is a great payoff. It's not.
So yeah, it can't be what we were speculating earlier, because they do interact with them.
Yeah, but it's all quick cuts. It could be stunt doubles. I don't know.
That's true.
You know, so many things like this, I just want a tell-all book. I just want to know. I just want someone who was involved to come out and say, here's everything that went down.
Yeah. I mean, there are
50...
movies I would ask for before this
Yeah,
one.
there are about 500 things I want to know about before this one.
Oh, really? This is at the top of my list. This and then Dark Knight Rises.
I think Dark Knight Rises is much, much higher on my list, but...
Oh, man, you know what? Them flipping over each other is so much cooler in slow motion.
A lot of the slow motion feels like we just don't have enough material, so we're padding it out.
Or it's supposed to make it feel more dramatic.
No, both, though. This movie is only an hour 40. Like, this much slow motion, it's because we have about a 1 hour pilot's worth of material. I'm sorry, what, Dan?
I was just saying, like, the turtles with the bladed weapons, like, Donatello's weapon is the only one that's useful when fighting the Shredder. I don't even know why they're holding them.
Wait, how is Donatello's weapon the only weapon that's useful?
Well, he can, like, trip him and stuff with it. It's long. He's got range.
Oh,
like,
that makes sense.
Leonardo and Raph aren't going to do anything to a man in that suit with bladed weapons.
Well,
You're
Raph
right.
might be able to if he used his size correctly and caught blades and broke them.
That's true, yeah.
Or went through the eyes.
Oh, yeah.
See, it's just an Xbox game right now.
The final boss battle is happening, guys.
And, of course, our standard right at the nick of time.
Where's Captain Stacy?
Well, it was done before that, but it always gets to one in the show.
Right. Well, that was fun. Who's for Chinese? He basically says that.
Oh, man. Who built that scaffolding that just one knife through it just takes the entire structure down?
One thing I can't help but give this movie a little bit, even though this villain plot is preposterous and still like broad scoping in a stupid way, is at least it's not like the whole city is crumbling. At least it's not another one of those.
It's true.
I remember thinking it was really funny that in the trailer they treated the spire dropping like it was as epic as the whole city is falling. And I remember having an argument with Dan where I was like, surely they're not going to just drop that spire. I lost that argument.
I thought it was hilarious that in the trailers it was shot almost exactly like the spire drop in Amazing Spider-Man. Like, it's exactly the same.
Okay, I'm going to say this. This is going to sound like such a silly thing to say, but I like how
It's green.
I like the color of that mutagen. I really do. I like how goofy and old school it looks.
It looks like Nickelodeon slime.
Yeah, and Nickelodeon made this movie, so that's awesome.
How is it that the Nickelodeon like cartoon series is like much better than this? Like it's actually pretty good.
I
It
haven't
is.
seen it.
I like it too.
I just know I don't like their Casey Jones mask, and I love the Shredder mask. At least there's like toys in the toy aisle that I put on, and
So we had to date our movie with a sign.
well, lots of movies have that.
Not that Ninja Turtles can't be a thing that takes place in a particular year, but
I forget what movie it is, but one of them has a poster for the Vampire Lestat in the background, and that's a play that's only around for 2 months.
yeah, but that's different. That's different because that's location shooting.
Oh, okay.
That's totally different. We had some of that here too, where like they shoot in Times Square or whatever, and there are posters for things. They had a CG sign that
really
just
bad.
says 2014, just so they could put the year this came out
I didn't actually see
in
what
the
you're talking
movie.
about.
Yeah, it's like it's huge and in the middle of the screen and blatant, and I don't know why you do that. Again, it's not a big deal. We like, I guess, you date this in other ways.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
All right, so we're hanging upside down. We're about to die, right?
sure, right.
It's really tense.
Why are we whispering?
Why does he still have on those sunglasses?
It's his thing. Besides the do-rag. So we're about to get into the
Oops.
most ridiculous,
This is
funny
fun.
thing in this whole movie.
Oh, I wish
Or
it was
did
in
we
the
already-
shape of him.
Or
like
did
a
we
Looney
already
Tune.
talk over it?
I'm sorry.
We haven't already had Raphael's "We're all gonna die" speech yet, have we? No, is that when when that happens?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So we're falling in slow motion, and Raphael's gonna give this speech in real time. I just can't even believe that.
Well, we keep. Okay, this is intentional that they're set up like those towers at theme parks, right? That go up and down.
That's hilarious.
Like that's
they
clearly
are.
what that is.
Yeah, it looks like they're just on a theme park ride. Me neither, Michelangelo. It's okay. I don't understand that either. I like that one.
I have a friend that can explain it to you.
That's kind of funny. They're in slow motion.
Well, a thing that we do a lot now is we'll have someone moving in slow motion and someone reacting in at normal time.
Yeah.
That's a thing we do.
But this is the most hilarious offender.
Yeah, this is bad.
I mean, it's
This
hysterical.
is really bad.
The physics of this make no sense.
Mikey's necklace looks like it's about to fall off, but the sunglasses are holding strong.
No,
Yeah,
but
they are.
But the physics of they're falling in slow motion and he's talking in real time. I saw a video where somebody sped it up so that he's talking
At like normal
at
speed.
the normal speed, and he's a chipmunk, and it's hilarious.
How did you not realize that he had hit the ground?
Yeah, I don't, because it's funny.
Like
And of
that's
course, there's been no character drama between those characters at all through this movie. They haven't really been at each other's throats about much of anything. Haven't been fighting about stuff.
Is that picked up in the sequel?
What's that?
No.
That he's got ooze on him?
no.
No, and it should have been. He's just in prison, and everybody talks about him like he's the biggest, baddest bad guy there's ever been.
And they play
Like,
the
it's-
Shredder theme from the '90 movie. It's awesome.
Over and over and over again.
That's delightful.
It got obnoxious. I was excited the first 15 times, and then it got.
5 minutes into the movie.
Here's the thing: it got stuck in my head, and I because I was like that theme, but then I realized it's 3 notes and nothing else. Over bomb, bomb, bomb. There's never even a key change. It
I
just
think I
keeps
remember
going.
you complaining about that with Low.
Bomb, bomb, bomb. Can we stop pretending like this movie was about these characters?
Really? Because I feel like we were doing pretty good with the teamwork thing at the beginning of this movie.
And Dan, don't you think the sequel to this is a sequel to some other movie?
Yeah.
In a lot of ways.
I don't know which one I like more. I kind of dislike them for different reasons. I don't know.
Okay, so the one thing that I thought was really clever in this movie is about to come up. And then I reviewed the Ninja Turtles Coming Out of the Shells tour and realized that it, of all things, did it first.
Oh, really?
Which is that the song that Michelangelo plays at the end here, which is one of my favorite songs of all time, is done by a band in the 60s called the Turtles. And I thought that was really clever. And then I went to the Ninja Turtles Coming Out of the Shells tour, and they talk about it there. And I just
they're pulling from the best source material, you know.
That looks like it's from a different movie.
They don't have that turtle van in the second one.
No, they have a way cooler one.
That's a tiny turtle van. That's like a turtle clown car.
They look like they don't even fit in it.
Yeah, I was gonna say they are too.
Look how he's hunched over.
They need a Hummer bad because they're so big. Not even a Hummer, like a military grade Humvee, like as big as those get. Who eats shave ice?
In their car.
Yeah.
What happened to no guns?
You know as well as I do that every superhero that says he doesn't carry guns, with maybe the exception of Superman, has a vehicle that has a missile launcher on it.
The Spider-Mobile did not have a missile.
Yeah.
Okay, Batman does this crap all the time.
Yeah,
That's
name
the
6
plan.
others. And don't just keep naming different iterations of Batman.
There's Zebra Batman.
There's Michael Keaton
Michael
Batman.
Keaton's Batman.
There's Ben Affleck Batman. It's a superhero trope.
Okay, it's Batman then. I'm sure there's something else. It's not coming to me right now. Once again, I wonder who invited Eric. I've heard some people complain that choice is ridiculous because he's the R&B guy.
Yeah, he doesn't know that song.
He would know that song unless he just looked it up. Turtles.
Unless he also was a fan of the Smash Bros. Trailer from the 90s.
I thought you were going to say, or if he was also a fan of the Ninja Turtles Coming Out of their Shells tour. And I'm like, but he's a Ninja Turtle. They wouldn't have had that.
And it's over.
Written by 3 people that we'll talk about. These drawings are bad.
Yeah.
That's not funny. I mean, it's a little funny. It's kind of funny.
That they're in a bra.
Yeah. My initial reaction was that's dumb, but that was like, that's a little funny.
That, like, the drawing of that suit makes that suit look much worse than it is. Like, much more not cool. I'm sorry, Dan, you were going to say something?
I was going to ask you guys, so, like, what do you see as happening, like, with this franchise in the future now that the second one we know didn't, like, make... What did it make, like, half the money of this?
I think they're gonna rest on how well the cartoon show and the current action figures is selling, and they're gonna sit on it for another several years.
You think they're gonna reboot it again eventually, though?
Oh yeah, well most certainly, because they won't come back and make a third one of these.
I think in about 2 years we'll reboot it with Andrew Garfield as Shredder.
I really hope that when they reboot it, they do something much more like the 90 movie or the comics, or,
I think they need to consider going back to CG suits or doing it all CGI. Or not CGI. I mean, they need to consider going back to like real costumes, or they need to go full on animation again.
Like with TMNT?
Yes.
Well, really, they just need to talk to whoever's doing the special effects for Guillermo del Toro, because he does the best suits augmented with CGI.
Yeah.
Which is really what they should be doing.
And you're right, it should be a mix.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely. We just need to not be lazy about it. We just need a studio that will back creative people that love this material, and for it not to be a cash-in thing.
If there's anything that I would
Give it to
sum this
people that
movie up
love
with,
it.
it's lazy.
Yeah.
You think
It
Paramount
feels like a
maybe-
high school assignment.
You think
Somebody was told to make this, and they weren't enthusiastic in the first place. Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
no worries. You think maybe Paramount might have learned? Well, actually, Star Trek Beyond didn't make as much money as they had hoped, right? So I was going to say
Beyond,
maybe they.
Beyond didn't do great at all.
I was going to say maybe they learned their lesson with that movie with the good reception it got, but it didn't make a lot of money, and that's kind of the language they speak. So. They got people like really enthusiastic about that material to make that movie, and it was a lot like the source material as opposed to the other stuff.
But had that movie been really successful, I doubt seriously if Paramount would have understood why.
Arthur Clever.
Fair enough, yeah.
They should have put him in charge of the movie.
Isn't he white? Because he's clever, yeah. Now, my hope, of course, with Star Trek at least, is that they're not saying, okay, that movie didn't do well, so let's make sure it's really not anything like Star Trek after the fact. But I doubt seriously if they look at that movie and even like it looks like a big action movie like they wanted in the first place, and it was like they snuck in the Star Trek stuff. So I really doubt if they notice that stuff.
They have to. Well, they won't, but they should know that it's clearly because of Into Darkness. Like that movie could have been anything.
Yes,
and it would have done the numbers it did.
But anyway.
And I think after 2, they can't make a third movie of this. Nobody will go see it. I didn't see this one in theaters either. So
no, it bombed. There's been no talk about another one.
Well, and let's be honest, with how uncreative this creative team has been, what would they do? They already did Rocksteady, Bebop, Krang, and Shredder. What would they do?
They'd go into space.
I bet you they don't even know that's a thing.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, they did Baxter Stockman too, and he's like the other big villain from the cartoon series. Because that's clearly what they were trying to emulate with this iteration was the cartoon series stuff.
We'll talk about that obviously when we do that movie, but they with
Jeffrey Nightingale. That name sounds fake.
There were so many great missed opportunities with that second one. Like even as silly as it is, and again I liked it. I liked it for its silliness, but Baxter Stockman should have turned into a fly. Why would you go full tilt at 87 cartoon and not do that? Nobody's made Baxter Stockman a fly since that show. Why would you not do that?
Yeah.
And there's other things I'll talk about with that too, but.
Adam Schnitzer. Name sounds made up to me.
It sounds made up to me.
This
is my favorite part
of
all movie credits now.
People. They made all these names up.
That's actually kind of small compared to Joe Sicko. I see you, Joe Sicko. Compared to the Marvel movies, that was a pretty small animation wall. I'm used to just the 2 minutes of just text.
Yeah.
Where the screen turns white.
Let's not make a big deal out of we got ILM effects when your movie looks like this. Let's not do that.
I mean, there's an A team and there's a B team at ILM. This was the B team, maybe even the C team. It's the janitors. Yeah, I see how these people done the computers. I can do it too.
I clean in the room with the computers every day. I'm an expert.
Mike Bookin. Shout out to you, Mike Bookin.
See, Eric has nothing left to say about this movie. Now he's just reading names.
Mascarin has? That's a weird last name.
See, look, it's the third.
Scott Starbuck.
Stefan Sonnenfeld. I wonder if there's any relation.
End titles by Scarlet Letters. It's a convenient name.
Are you still doing this? He's still doing this, Dan.
Jordan Houston, we got a problem. Your movie sucked.
Sorry, what, Dan?
I mean, it's more than I have to say, so...
We want to thank Dan for showing up.
The lag got better. We can actually understand each other now. It's good.
Well, you'd rather that happen on a movie like this where you didn't have anything to say in the first place. Everybody, thanks as always for listening to a commentary podcast. We'll be back with you again soon with another one. We are about to start our insane, legendary Turtle Torture series, where we'll be going through all of Next Mutation. We're going to start that for you next week, and we'll also take a break from that and do the 2016 movie right after it comes out. So thanks a lot for listening, and we'll see you again shortly. I am Captain Logan. And
I am Eric.
And I'm Dan.
Thanks a lot for listening again, folks. We'll see you next time.